Welcome to the TE Spotlight, where we shine a light on the next and new authors, artists, comedians, choreographers, actors, directors, musicians, internet personalities, up-and-comer or well-established, people you need to know and people you need to know more about. This is the TE Spotlight.
You've tuned into the TE Spotlight, and today I have an amazing artist here. And this is like one of those 6 degrees of separation scenarios because I've actually seen this artist's work, and she's amazing. I want you to know about her, and so we're just going to bring her right in. Her name is Akshita. She was born in Mumbai. She's an amazing artist. Akshita, welcome to the TE Spotlight. How are you today?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm fantastic. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing beautifully. I am so excited for people to know about you. You know, I don't get an opportunity to speak with a lot of visual artists on this program. So I think you may be the first one. So I'm super excited about this today. Yeah, I'm really excited today. So let's start with some of your work and inspiration behind your work. How would you describe your work? What is the inspiration behind it?
So I think my journey began pretty young, and I was reading Hermann Hesse as a young teenager, and there was a quote from the book Steppenwolf that said, "Eternity is a mere moment just long enough for a joke." And when I was younger, I was a very curious child, and I read a lot, and I constantly wondered what that meant. And that's around the same time when I started creating art. And when I was 16, I held my first art exhibition, and the proceeds were donated to an old age home. And I did a lot of landscapes and, more realistic things. And I started to wonder, I said, a camera can do this, or anybody who is skilled could create these pieces. There's no originality and there is no me. And I think it took me several years to actually form a style, and I decided that I wanted my viewers to experience eternity, moments of bliss, to just look at it and feel a sense of joy. So I start by creating a concept, and they're usually based on literature and history, all different kinds of concepts, and I write a little bit about it. So I write short poems, and based on that, I create a series of work. A recurring theme in, I think, a lot of my works is magic. So I go back to a lot of childhood dreams. I use, themes like fantasy and magic and surrealism, and I want the viewer to look at my photographs, which is how I start my work. And the photographs that I clicked and I printed on canvas, and they're usually photographs of cities and structures and, the urban landscape. And over that, I use crazy colors, fluorescents, neons, and I have a lot of intricate designs, and it looks almost dreamlike because it doesn't really have any structure. And I want my viewer to sort of live that fantasy and realize that they're oscillating between reality and illusion. And if my viewer can experience some sort of bliss and some sort of joy, as cliche as that sounds, we take it for granted and just not think about anything for those 5 seconds when they're looking at my piece. That joy that they experience, for me, is inspiration enough to just keep creating.
So what I love about what you're saying is that you are truly a multimedia artist. You're not a painter or a sculptor or a photographer or a writer. You are whatever the inspiration calls upon you to be. You take the photograph, you write about it, but then you take these photographs and you put them on canvas. But my understanding is you don't just put them on canvas. You've done some works in glass as well. You use various different mediums to do that. How do you decide what goes where? You take a photograph. How do you decide if this should be on canvas or this should be on glass?
So what I do is that I think they usually also the kind of, so when I take these photographs and I'm looking at them on my laptop, and there's certain photographs that I just instantly know will look so much more beautiful when they're up on an acrylic sheet or glass or, up against the light box. And there's some photographs where the structures are really interesting, or so there's some tall skyscraper or some sort of building that just looks very interesting, and you can do a lot with it in terms of just creating patterns over that, and some colors are interesting, or there are some photographs that look great in black and white. And I think it's more instinctive than anything else, and that's just the sort of artist I am. I'm not a referenced artist at all, and I'm never completely sure about what it is I'm going to create, but it's just a gut feeling that says that, okay, I think this is going to work on this, and I think this might work with that. And then you just go about creating it and, going through the process of it, and you just have to surprise yourself.
So let's take a step back. And to our listeners who are listening in, I'm speaking with Akshita. She is an amazing artist. She was born in Mumbai, and she has a very interesting background and a very unique approach to how she does her art. You received your IB from the American School of Bombay, and then you went on to the American University in Dubai to get your BBA in finance. Then you went to get MA from the Lotus Institute in Dubai within the Fine Arts Department. Was there a point in time when you wanted to go into finance because you were in Dubai? Like, was art always in the forefront? What was your journey?
That's a good question. And I do get that a lot. And I get a lot of raised eyebrows when I say, I'm actually a finance major. What? How did that happen? I actually come from a family where we have a very strong business background. My father's a first-generation entrepreneur, and there's a very strong belief in working in the family business. So when we sort of finished school, it was automatically understood that, we were going to be close to home, and we had to study, go to business school, and come back and join the family business. It was something that we were conditioned to do from the very beginning. And my father is in infrastructure, and what he does is extremely interesting, although it's very dry, and there are some days where you find it extremely dull, but all in all, it's incredible. So I was always excited and looking forward to it, but art is a very big part of my life, and I had been either studying art in my IB or like I mentioned, my first exhibition was when I was 16. So I was constantly painting and creating art. It's when I was in business school where my mom was visiting me, I think about my second or third semester, and I was showing her some assignment, and she said, "Oh my God, why do you have doodles on your assignment? Are you going to submit it like that?" And I realized that there was doodling all through my books, my textbooks, my assignments. I had sketches. And my mom was an artist. And she said, I think you should continue pursuing your art. And then we found this institute close to my business school. And I started going to art school at night. And I started with the foundation courses and then went ahead and got my master's. So it was a very interesting journey, but I absolutely loved both. I loved going to business school. I loved going to art school. And I somehow, like the yin and the yang, found a way for both to coexist in harmony and find a sort of equilibrium between both.
You were named one of the top 5 finalists for the Best Global Artist of the Year at the prestigious Global Art Awards held in Dubai. Talk about what that was like.
Yes.
Wow. Right? Just wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was actually I was in London last year, and last year I sort of took a sabbatical. I did not create a lot of art. I was just traveling and going to different art fairs around the world and just exploring. And I remember I was doing an art course with Sotheby's in London, and one night I received an email, about these awards that were coming up in Dubai, and I've exhibited in Dubai for about 5 years, and my pieces were very well received. So I thought, you know what, maybe it's worth a shot. I did not know very much about it. Had no idea what was going to come out of it. But I mean, I tried. So I got selected to participate. And not only was I selected as one of the finalists, my artwork was also selected to be exhibited at that event that evening. And it was incredible because there were only 20 artists whose works were selected, and I think there were over 2,000 entries. It was just such an incredible feeling being there, being amongst such accomplished artists from around the world. I met such wonderful people, and it was such a humbling experience. And I just that moment is. That feeling, that moment is so difficult to describe in words, but it's etched in my memory forever.
And I think that's an interesting statement you're making, that the feeling is too difficult to describe in words, and you're just stuck in that moment. But was that the moment when you said to yourself, I am an artist? Or did you always feel that way and you didn't need that, but that was just a validation of it? What was that journey like for you?
I think it was a great sense of validation for me, and you're absolutely right about that. I've always believed that I have the soul of an artist. I can't fathom being anything else or pursuing anything else the way I pursue and love my art. But as a person, I'm very shy and I'm an introvert when it comes to my art. So I don't really speak about it, or I don't really share very much. And as an artist, you have, at least for me, I've always had a lot of self-doubt. And I've always wondered, because my style is just so different and I haven't really seen a lot of pieces like mine before. And I always wonder how it's going to be received, whether I will receive recognition, whether I'll receive commercial success, whether everyone's going to hate it or love it, because it's so subjective. And knowing that there are people who have selected your piece or who believe in the sort of work that you're doing, and to be able to share a platform with so many other incredibly talented artists was definitely a validation for me. And it gave me an opportunity to go out there and mingle with these people and talk to the people. And it's the first time I was really on a platform of that scale, which has never happened before. So, yeah, it was a really important moment. And that's when I said that, okay, I'm doing something. I'm definitely doing something right, because I would not have been there otherwise. And that was a very strong validation for me.
Your work has been shown around the world since 2015. At what point did you decide that was the way for you to go, to allow your work to be a part of various different exhibits? You mentioned that you were sort of shy about your work. What was that like to allow it to be put up someplace and the world to see, and all the critiques that you got with that? That must have been scary for you. What was that like?
It was terrifying. So when I was pursuing my MFA, the institute participated at the World Art Dubai Fair back in 2015, and they said to me, we're going to put up 6 of your pieces. And I looked at them and I said, there's no way you're going to put up even one, let alone 6. And they said, no, we like the abstract series that you've completed, and we reckon it'll do really well. So we decided to put it up. And I said, no, but promise me you're not going to sell any of these. I'm not putting these up for sale. And I was so shy about it. I didn't even attend the first day of the fair. I reluctantly went on the second day. I was sweating and terrified and scared, and I felt like a piece of me was just left out there for the world to see. It's not something I'd done before. When I was 16, it was different, because those were like a bunch of gorgeous oil on canvas landscapes with very little room for error. These pieces were not like that. Now, I